In this episode, we are going to cover cost of ownership. So if you're in the market looking for a sailboat and curious about cost of ownership, or you already have a boat and trying to get more information about maintenance or berthing, you may find the upcoming content helpful. Welcome back to CB Sailing. My name is Kavanch and I own a 2016 Elan Impression 45. Although the information and the pricing I'm going to share in this episode applies to this specific boat, it can be generalized for any similarly sized and spec'd production cruiser. Well, we are currently in Fethiye. CB is berthed in this Marina in Fethiye, and we arrived here back in September. And it is time for us to get the maintenance done. And the problem we're having in this marina is there's no lifts and there are not proper facilities nearby. There is a facility next door, but when I went there to check it out, they don't have any lifts either, and they have some kind of a ramp and then some heavy equipment that actually pulls the boats out of the water. And the dry dock itself seemed a little bit chaotic, so I don't want to take any chances. What I have decided to do is I'm going to take the boat to another coastal town called Marmaris. We stopped by there on the way over here, and I was impressed by the operation there. They have multiple lifts and a huge dry dock. The facilities we decided on is called Yacht Marina, and it is located in Yalancıboğaz in Marmaris. And the project management company is recommended by us by another fellow cruiser who has been living in Turkey for an extensive time. It is called TMS Marine, and they have an office within the marina which is very convenient. Our overall experience with TMS Marine was positive. They delivered everything we asked for on time, and they were reasonable with the price. The first thing got my attention was how efficient the operation was. And to my surprise, there was a diver provided by Yacht Marina making sure the straps or the lift is not interfering with delicate parts of the boat such as the sail drive or the shaft. It was the most welcome service, and the pricing for the diver is included in the lift. What we didn't know is because of safety reasons, any sailboat that needs to be lifted has to be in bare bones. A furling main is okay, but classic slab reefed main or any furling genoa or jib needs to be removed before the operation can start. Upon arrival, 3 of the TMS crew step on the boat, and within minutes, they remove the genoa, neatly packaged it, and send it to a sailmaker for inspection. There is also an unspoken rule about tipping the lift operator, which I later learned is shared by the lift crew. And this is what the bottom looked like after being 2 years in the water. There are a number of project management companies within the marina or in the near town of Marmaris. It is entirely up to you to decide whether or not you want to work with a project management company. I recommend working with a reputable project management company versus working with a third party. Well, you may say it's more expensive that way. Don't discount the fact that the project management companies have more negotiation power, and leverage on the third parties than you do. At the end of the day, you may end up paying more and lose the convenience factor. That said, the lift and the dry dock is completely independent from any third party. You deal with the marina directly and you have the total freedom to work on your boat yourself. It was surprising to see how effective pressure wash was. Within minutes, most of the growth was off the hull. After pressure washing the bottom, they settled CB on a cradle, which will be her resting place for the next 2 months. From there, they transferred CB through the tightest aisles of boats, with only a couple inches to spare on each side. I have a lot of stressful moments as a boat captain within the last 4 years, and this was for sure one of them. Starting January up until end of March is the busiest time in this facility with very rare spots in the dry dock. My observation was around mid-April some boats start going into the water for the season and that left some availability for the newcomers. What we learned from other sailors in the Mediterranean is if you need to get some job done on your boat, Turkey is the place to be. There are multiple reasons for that, and the most important ones are the availability of the parts. If you're looking for a part and you cannot find it in Marmaris, they say you cannot find it anywhere in the world. And the second and the most important reason is the quality of craftsmanship. And labor is reasonably priced in Turkey. The cost of CB's stay at Yacht Marine comes as a package, and that includes the travel lift for 2 ways, the dry dock for 2 months, the pressure wash, the cradle, and the diver service for the lift. Located about 15 minutes from downtown Marmaris, Yacht Marina offers one of the biggest service capacity in the Mediterranean. The 2 travel lifts offer up to 330 tons of lifting power. And the Marina can offer up to 750 wet and 1,000 dry berths. Even with this humongous capacity, the biggest challenge here is availability. During the winter months, it's almost impossible to find a dry dock in Yacht Marine. When I first called them to make a reservation, they said there's no availability. But TMS worked their magic inside and was able to secure a spot for CB. Another advantage of having a project management company. The bigger of the 2 travel lifts can move some enormous boats with incredible precision. The facility can accommodate probably the biggest boats I have ever seen on dry dock. It's easy to get lost among these giants, but we have a list of projects we have to accomplish within the next 2 months. To name a few other than the typical underwater works, we are due for a major engine and sail drive service. The rudder needs to be looked at because there has been a considerable play. Our 7-year-old batteries and sanitary hoses needs to be replaced. And we are finally getting much needed solar panels installed. Our first project is replacing the lower rudder bearing. This issue was pointed out to me by the surveyor back in 2021 during the purchase process. The telltales of a worn rudder bearing is a vibrating wheel, especially if you're under engine power, more so in higher RPMs.
Bunu şeyler çok izliyorlar zaten.
Evet. So first of all, as you can see, the rudder is off the boat. There was a considerable play at the rudder when we pulled the boat in the dry dock, and then you hold on to the rudder and you shake it. You can actually see there was a gap in here, and the rudder was moving inside the rudder post. So we decided to take the rudder off the boat, and then when we took it off, actually the bearing, the lower bearing, which should be snug in this hole, came right off with the post. So that's not good. So they are going to manufacture a new bearing that will be a snug fit in here. So hopefully we'll get rid of that rudder movement or shakiness in the rudder post. So in order to pull the rudder out of the boat, as you can see, they dig a little hole so they have enough clearance to drop the rudder. And the rudder itself is right now over here, and now here is where the bearing was. Meanwhile, in the machine shop, they already start manufacturing the customized bearing.
Şeyden çıkarken zaten düşmüş.
One of my observations was how efficient the operation was. There's always multiple projects going at the same time, where 1 to 3 people are either working on the boat or in the machine shop simultaneously. The new bearing was manufactured and installed in a matter of hours. Replacing the lower rudder bearing came up to $690, including the labor and the custom-made bearing. Next in the list is cleaning and servicing the sail drive and the folding prop. On our way to Marmaris to the lift, I had a chance to record the condition of the belly of the boat and our folding prop, and this is how it looked like. Let me introduce you the master mechanic at TMS Marine. With 30 years of experience, Ahmet knows almost any and every boat inside and out. He will be the project lead on all mechanical work done on CB. This guy should have his own show. Not only he is an expert in his field, He is also a phenomenal instructor. Noticing my interest, he pointed most everything he noticed and gave clear instructions on how to fix things along the way. The folding prop will be dismantled, cleaned, and reconditioned in the workshop by Ahmed. TMS's workshop is also located inside the facilities, which is very convenient. And although they're busy, the staff is always welcoming and friendly.
Bak bu da
Çimlenmiş mi bu ya yoksa
su almamış.
su almamış değil mi?
Almamış.
O güzel bir şey.
Yani evet.
Şu krem rengi şey değil mi?
Evet
Şuradaki.
bu su işte. O renk zaten oradan kaynaklanmış. Tam zaman sökmüşüz.
And this is how the folding prop looked like before and after service. Today marks day 4 in dry dock. I give you guys a little update of what is going on. So they took the folding prop out and it's in the machine shop right now. They are going to clear it up and everything in here and the little shaft that goes in here for the prop is in good shape. I saw in the machine shop earlier and then they gave me a thumbs up on that. What we're trying to, the one thing that was happening though is the seal on the folding prop was just starting to leak. So when we open it up, the little shaft that goes from this to the prop, on the very end of it, we could have seen like the cloudiness on the oil. So they're telling me that we pulled that out right in time. What we're trying to figure out, or what I need to decide at this point, is the sail drive has a seal around here, and that needs to be replaced by every 7 years, recommended by Volvo Penta. And then I need to figure out whether or not I'm going to do that. It's an expensive job. They need to take the engine off, separate the sail drive from the engine, move the engine, and drop the sail drive in order to replace that sealing that actually is between the sail drive and the engine. And it is actually what is preventing the water to come through into the boat. So it's an important part. I think I'm gonna have to replace it, but I haven't seen the price yet, so I'm a bit nervous about that.
Şu. Martlarını yapması lazım.
The sail drive service cost me $340, including the shaft seal, the O-rings, and the artificial zincs. Next is one of the biggest ticket items in our project list. The crew will be scraping down the old antifouling and sending the primer before they apply the new primer and the fouling. They scrape the antifouling by hand, and then this is the primer that they said it's in good shape, so they're gonna keep the primer here and they're gonna apply a couple of more layers of the primer. And today they started to sand it a little bit, so this part is sanded and then that part is not, as you can see. So the sanding is going to be completed, and then they're going to apply more primer before they apply the anti-fouling. So the sealant between the keel and the hull, I actually did this couple years back in Croatia in Dubrovnik, so that needs to be checked, and I think this is in probably really bad shape, so that needs to be replaced too. This is the ceiling and it's falling apart. So all the seacocks are going to be inspected and if needed renewed and or serviced. So one thing I need to get used to is this. So it's kind of scary at the beginning, but you know, get used to it rather quick. Next in our list is servicing the bow thruster, and for that, Ahmet is back in action. The service includes cleaning the bow thruster pipe, reconditioning the two little props inside the pipe, replacing the anodes, the artificial zincs, and also inspecting the bow thruster motor to make sure it's working properly.
Sonra atölyeye gelebilir misin?
Tamam.
Egzoz çıkışı olmuş. İçeriden oksitlenmiş, yapmış. Isındığı için yemiş. O alüminyum. Bunlar daha önce söktüler mi?
Here's Ahmet quickly realizing the bow thruster props are installed incorrectly.
Bu sol. Bu burası iskele tabii. Bu burada olmaz.
The port side is installed to the starboard and the starboard is installed to the port. To compensate the problem, instead of reinstalling the props, they decided to crisscross the wires on the motor. And therefore, I never realized anything off about the bow thrusters all this time. We also sign up for detailing the exterior of the boat, which includes waxing and polishing the hull above waterline and the upper decks. While Ahmet is busy servicing the bow thruster, 2 of the TMS crew are sanding the hull for the first layer of the primer. Here are the 2 service guys. The one at the bottom is applying a layer of primer, and the one on the top is waxing and polishing the decks. I don't know about you guys, but she already started looking much better. By applying different shades of primer, they can tell how many layers of primer they already applied. Bu zehirli değil, bu astar mı?
Bu astar. 4 kat astar oluyor.
We opted for 4 layers of primer and 2 layers of antifouling. Here's a quick comparison of what she looked like about a month ago and now. The cost of entire underwater works came up to $3,400, including parts and labor. Next, on CB Sailing, we are going to cover our major engine overhaul. We will be also replacing the sail drive gasket, installing much needed solar panels with a new set of fresh batteries. We will be upgrading our grand tackle and replacing all sanitary hoses. We will also be demonstrating our superior negotiation skills. All coming up next on CB Sailing.